I often wondered how callous political actors were. Like, meaning when it really came to the crux of it, if the world was at stake, if life and limb was at stake, how callous, how cynically callous and self interested would political actors be? Brinksmanship is a part of politics. It's one of those things that they tend to use. A political actor will say, I'd be dead in a ditch before I pull back on Brexit. That type of stuff. It's the way they're positioning. It's confidence. They need to get across to their people who are backing them and people who are in their opposition that they are believing of this position even to the point of their demise. Now, oftentimes, it doesn't go to that degree. Sometimes it does. Sometimes they're true believers. COVID has gotten across to me how cynical some of these people are. Meaning from the standpoint of, for entire either political benefit or for that matter, they don't necessarily want to piss off their base. And in some cases, some of these people are true believers. That they would take a position, political position, that is literally getting people killed or providing coverage for people who want to get people killed. One or the other, I don't care which. And on some level, I consider them to be basically the same thing. Whether you're providing a safe space for people who are killing people or actively taking a position and saying things that are pushing people or giving them safe coverage for killing themselves, I think both of those things are dramatically problematic. This is not a situation where a person is making an individual choice and that individual choice just stays with them. That individual choice is not staying with them. A person who is not getting vaccinated or not doing due diligence to ensure that that person doesn't necessarily get infected is potentially a carrier. Whether they die is secondary to the point that they can get somebody else killed. That is kind of the point. It is not this thing of, it is just my individual choice, man. Yeah, it's your individual choice that is going to get me or somebody else killed. That's the crux of it. That's the end all be all of it. I get people making that individual choice argument, but yeah, what about my individual choice to not die from your individual choice? Fox News has been one of the networks that's been an anti-vaxxer safe space. Whether the people on the left or the right, Fox News has been the place that has been giving them this pat on the back for basically horrible, unempathetic behavior. Geraldo Rivera has gone on Fox News today, went on Fox News, and is basically pushing back on the bullshit that Fox News has been pushing. And he's been somewhat of a bright spot on this. This is the first time I've seen him on there in a while. And for the longest time, they've been pushing this anti-vaxxer nonsense. Been pushing back against people wearing masks, or even the most basic premise of being a fucking human being in a larger society with other human beings in it. He was a bright spot on there today. I'm going to let you hear him, in fact. He is pushing back on this notion of people bitching about the update for mask guidance. I have to be honest, I didn't change my behavior for masks. Yes, I got the vaccine. Yes, there is a potential that the vaccine doesn't work as I expected it to work, just because of previous immune issues, not to mention transplant issues. So I'm one of those people where it's potential that it is doing what it's supposed to do. I've been traveling around the world and everything else, so hopefully, fingers crossed. But fact of the matter is that there are plenty of people out there that are either immunocompromised, that either, let's say, either are vaccinated and still could potentially get infected. I mean, because that's the rub, right? Nobody is saying that people with vaccines or vaccinations are 100% cleared. That's the point. Meaning just because you get a vaccine doesn't mean you're protected. And the people who are walking around unvaccinated, that are what I'm considering petri dishes, have the potential to spur variants that will breach and break through the vaccinations. That is literally what Delta variant is. It is a variant that is highly transmissible even to people who are potentially vaccinated. Yes, those people are less likely to die. Yes, those people are less likely to get infected. But yes, a vaccine is not flat, fat, 100% God-given, you won't catch this immunity. And the petri dishes that are walking around 99% of the hospitalizations and the people who are getting sick and the people who are dying are those people who are unvaccinated. They're the petri dishes of this. Have the potential to spread it. If I am going to a restaurant and I've been vaccinated, and the restaurant says anybody who comes here has to be vaccinated, I have no issue with that. Why would I have an issue with that? If I did due diligence to ensure that my fellow man and myself are relatively safe from a virus that is highly transmissible and has killed 600,000 Americans and 4 million people across the globe, and the restaurant says we're going to try to keep a spot for people to ensure that they are relatively safe. We can't give you 100%, but we can give you relative safe. Have no issue. Zero. If I go back to my job, how is my manager going to have a situation where he says, yeah, we're going to have people to come back, but there are going to be some people who are unvaccinated, if he knows that 99% of the people who are catching COVID in the United States are unvaccinated? How can he do that? How can he put a people at risk and in danger at his company like that? He didn't do that. He said if you're coming in, you have to be vaccinated. I have no issue with that. Zero. When the federal government is taking that action, when they're saying healthcare workers should be vaccinated, why shouldn't a healthcare worker who is dealing with people who are ill, why shouldn't they be vaccinated if they're going to do that job? No. Zero issue. If the people want to remain unvaccinated, fair enough. You can be petri dishes. From the standpoint of access to the various elements of society and everything else, I have zero issue with them saying that those people should be vaccinated and showing some kind of proof that you were. This is where we are now. Going back to 5,000 people dying a day seems utterly absurd to me. And seeing numbers go up to the tune of 200% over the course of 2 or 3 weeks shows that the virus is going in a different direction. Showing that vaccines stopped mean that the virus is going to go in a different direction. And while there's all sorts of public pressure that are being put on various people who decide they don't want to get vaccinated and put other people at risk, fair enough. All of the vaccinations are not mRNA. That's one point. So even if people want to take a shot at that, there are other vaccinations. And let's be very clear. Just because people want to use Israel and some of these other countries, the problem and the catch with Israel is a success story. And it's a story of people not understanding what is happening there. You have a situation where the majority of that country, the overwhelming majority of that country, got vaccinated. Any kind of breakthrough Delta variant, again, this is what we're talking about, and transmissibility of it, because you have so many people that are vaccinated, the only people that are available, per se, or the majority of the people, per se, that are going to be, a preponderance of people that are available, are those that are vaccinated. I guess I'm saying people looking at the various data and everything else, especially in the U.S., it is overtly clear that the people who are sick and dying and getting infected are unvaccinated. And unfortunately for those people, the 40-something% that decided, yeah, we don't want this, we don't want to do this, we don't believe in this, we don't want to take this on. And I get it, right? I mean, that was a position I was in the beginning, like, oh man, I'm not quite sure, I'm uncertain and everything else. But at a certain point, when you're seeing all of these people getting vaccinated and the number of outsized issues being minor, and you see the rate go up, and it becomes clear that the reason that the rate of people who are, or infections that are going up, are because basically the vaccines and everything else have stalled. Fox News is killing people. Full stop. And I appreciate Geraldo going into anti-vaxxer safe space to get across to them that that's exactly what they're doing.
In terms of the mandatory vaccines, Jeff, I don't know any Jeffs. Greg, to say that the demonization of the unvaccinated, it's not appropriate. You have to understand that if you're unvaccinated, then you should at least get tested every week on your own, or understand why you are banned from the VA, why you are banned from restaurants, why you are banned from other businesses and colleges increasingly, and they should be, because it's selfish. If you're unvaccinated and you're going around without being tested, you are an arrogant, selfish SOB.
You have proof of that? Do you have proof? You were asking for proof from Jesse. What's your proof that people are wandering around willy-nilly spreading the disease? You sound like you don't have any evidence.
No evidence that unvaccinated people, I have it here. You want evidence? 99%.
Is that really, I mean, this is what I mean when I said this is so fucking stupid. The conversation on Fox, Geraldo, if you are walking around willy-nilly, not getting checked, meaning, and he even gave it out. Look, if you don't want to get a vaccine, fair enough. At least get yourself tested. At least do the due diligence of wearing a mask and everything else. He goes there. Guthrie is like, it sounds like you don't have any evidence. Any evidence of what? That the people who are spreading it are the people who are unvaccinated? What the hell are you talking about? The evidence is all over the place. I mean, even this stat right here. 98 to 99 plus percent of the people that are being hospitalized and dying from COVID have not been vaccinated. Very clear. Alabama, 96.2%. Maryland, 100% of the people that have dropped dead that are no longer here, unvaccinated. 95% of the COVID cases, unvaccinated. 93% hospitalizations, unvaccinated. You can go from state to state. Not going to change. Same stat. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Geraldo, whatever you want to think of him in another context, in this very specific situation, he is entirely right. Selfish, yes. Unempathetic, yes. Spreading it, yes. He's right on all those counts. Like, share,